I'm Reggie Ponder, the Reel Critic. Welcome to the Reel Critic Roundtable, where Black critics come to discuss, debate, and have some fun. If you missed last week, you missed the debate and you missed some fun. But this week, before we get into it, we have Sean Edwards, Katia Woods, and Lonita Cook. But of course, you know that I always have to do a little opening statement. So here we go. I know a lot of people don't really like to watch documentaries, and I get it. I get it, but I kind of want to rename them or remarket them in some kind of way, just all together, because people are really missing out. I know we want to be entertained versus educated, but can't we just do both? Isn't there some kind of way that you could get some entertainment value and be educated at the same time? Well, last week I talked about the movie of The Sit-In with Harry Belafonte, where he sat in for a week for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show, and he had these phenomenal guests, and I still encourage you guys to check that out. Well, this week I want to talk just a little bit about the documentary called All In, The Fight for Democracy. And I have to admit up front that this is more educational than entertainment. But you still need to check this one out. Now, I'm going to start by telling you to vote. Then I'm going to end by telling you to vote. And then I'm going to end by telling you to vote. But I'm also going to ask you to watch this important documentary. It'll outline all the reasons you should vote, from the rules that stop us. You know, municipalities, they make all these rules to try to stop you from voting, from the laws all the way up to the Supreme Court that try to stop you from voting, from the devious activities that they have to try to stop you from voting, like fewer voting machines at your district, telling you you're not registered to vote, so you'll go away, changing your polling place so you don't know where to go, or even just purging you from the registry. But here's the point. If people are working so hard to stop you from voting, it must be pretty darn important. People only protect stuff that's valuable to them, like their money. You think voting might be related to voting? I mean, money might be related to voting? I'm just saying, if they are all in to stop you from voting, maybe you should be all in to fight back. That's just something to ponder. Anyway, moving on, send it over to Katia for an opening statement.
Hi, I'm Katia Woods, film and television critic. I have my own site called Cup of Soul Show. I also recently just made my debut with Film School Rejects, where I wrote my tip review of Regina's King, the featured directorial debut of One Night in Miami. Make sure you head over there and check it out. And it's always nice when people reach out to you and say, we want to add your voice to their medium. So hope everybody's doing well. It's been a hectic day. It's been a hectic week. Festival season is upon us. For whatever reason, everybody wants to have their festivals at the same time. So it's not been a lot of sleep, but it's been good film watching.
Send it over to Lonita.
Hey, good morning. I am Lonita Cook. I'm a film critic out of Kansas City, and I contribute to KCTV5 here. I have not been checking out any of the festival stuff, so I'm very interested to hear what's going on. I agree, things have been hectic, and so, yeah, that's it.
Sean, bring up the rear.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Sean Edwards, Fox 4 News film critic, co-founder, African American Film Critics Association. And my opening statement is, I just want to say thank you, Christopher Nolan, for saving cinema, saving the theatrical experience. You did a really great job of that. Not major fail. Biggest problem was Tenet's just not that good. And it's still not safe to go out in the public, especially to watch a movie indoors. Wow. But thank you for saving cinema, Christopher Nolan. Man, you are the man. Your cape is in the mail.
Wow.
Hey.
This is your guy, Lonita. This is your guy from KC. He coming like that?
Hey,
Chris, he saved cinema, baby.
Let me tell you, I can't disagree. I saw Tenet, and every single critic that watched this movie with us, and Sean and I got to see it together.
No, I wasn't there. Oh, yeah, I was there. Was I there? Yeah.
See, he don't even know. Don't even listen to him. What do you got to say, Ms. Scott?
So the thing is, every single critic that came out afterwards did wonder if the movie was strong enough to risk your health to go see. And so now we understand that criticism is contextualized by a different experience. It's not just about movie going, movie enjoying, movie loving, and all these things, but, you know, health concerns.
It also goes to show
I'm
you
not gonna
that
say anything because Sony Pictures is let's just say they're keeping an eye on who's saying what, and so I'm gonna leave it
I'll
at
say
that.
it again. Warner Brothers, next time,
I mean,
save
Warner
millions.
Brothers.
Call me.
Sorry, Warner Brothers.
Call me. Next, Warner Brothers, listen, all you executives in Burbank, listen to me. You know who I am. This is a great show. Next time, call me. I will work as a consultant. You could have paid me $100K. I would have saved you millions. It was not a smart move. I could have told you that 6 months ago.
I do want to say though, the best part about the film is John David. He definitely is a leading man, and he is deserving of more opportunities. I do,
Well, that goes
you
without
know,
saying.
give him. I do give Christopher Nolan kudos for creating a role that had, you know, some depth and allowed him to flex in a different area, because not everybody does that. But like I said, that would be my comment.
But his
All right,
kudos
so-
get snatched away because he's
So you see
arrogant.
that? You see that? This is how we do. Because I didn't even know they were going to be talking about this. But anyway, we're
It's
gonna
my
move
opening statement. He saved cinema, baby.
But it's a debatable statement. That's, I mean, you know, it's like we're running away with the train
man.
here. But the truth of the matter is, my favorite part of Tenet was the fight scenes. And so everything else could have been pared down a little bit more. So I agree with you, Sean.
My favorite part was when it was over.
Well, I am moving on because we're moving to our first movie, and that movie is Alone. Sean, please introduce us to that movie.
Oh, geez. Wow. It's sort of like a horror thriller, psychological thriller about a young lady who's she's on the move. Some things that happen in her life, and she's forced to change direction. She's out driving with a U-Haul attached to the back of a old school 1970s style Volvo, and some things happen along the way. And yeah, there we go. I just don't understand how anyone can open their laptop and write this script. I hate movies like this that just put women in peril for no reason, that get tracked and stalked by some crazed guy. And I also hate characters in movies that have never watched a movie. But
see, here's my problem. Sean.
Why you road tripping by yourself? Why you on all these back alley why you stopping at night? Everything that happened to her, she deserved, man.
No. People do this. People do this. People get in the car. People drive places by themselves. And what I actually disagree with you on something real strongly here, Sean, is that they didn't make her stupid. She wasn't the one.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. She was, to me,
There's no reason for this movie to exist.
She was scared enough to do something, and she was frightened enough not to do enough. And I felt
you don't even start that trip without a companion. Why would you even go on that trip by yourself?
You don't know a woman who have gone on a trip by themselves say, I got this.
That's why she got got. That's why she got got.
Wow.
Why she got, man.
Ladies, please jump in here.
This movie was terrible. I wish Little League rules applied. The more minutes you watch that are bad, you should be able to just opt out without penalty.
Wow.
All right.
Katya.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I do agree with Sean. I'm like, if the idea was for her to go away, to find peace, but the whole journey to find a peace is unpeaceful, that's problematic. And I do think that, you know, there's a problem with why is it we can tell women's, and I love a good horror film, but you don't necessarily always have to make the woman be the center of all the pain and the trauma. Like, you know, we've had enough trauma women movies. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I just feel like, can we do something where we're a little bit more interesting, different plot twist? You know what I mean? And I also have to like sometimes ask the men that come up with this, like, what's going on in your life? Like, what's your relationship like with women? Like, what is going on with you that you think that a woman would watch this and be like, this is cool. Like, I want to pay for this.
Thank you. 100%. I agree. 100%.
Y'all coming hard. Lonita, did you see this one?
I did not see this one, so I'm on the sidelines. I'm going to be honest with you. I watched a movie called Alone. It wasn't this one. It wasn't this one, but the one that I did watch.
You lucked out. Sean is saying you lucked out.
The one that I did watch wasn't that great. I said, hey, I want my money back.
I just don't understand how you could be a screenwriter or a director and just be so hateful toward women. Like this, at some point, this has got to just end. It's just mean. I don't want to see that. This is hateful.
I thought we learned from Boxing Helena to make these type of films. You know what I mean?
It's just hateful. And then she's dumb for 99% of the movie. Then you have that ending. Like,
that's another problem too. When you watch these things, you're like, nobody is. You have to work hard to make this many bad moves.
Yes.
Like, I feel like there's stuff that you make, there are decisions you make because you're naive, and then there are decisions that certain people make because they're just dumb. But nobody's this dumb, like purposefully. Like, were you raised on the moon or something?
Right. Another problem I have with this film, I got serious issues with the screenwriter, because then and I don't care if I'm giving it away or not, but there's a scene in the woods where she encounters an older guy after she escapes. And it's like, the first move is take me to the police. The guy sees a woman clearly in peril with no shoes, bloodied, face bashed in. He has a rifle. He points the rifle at her like she's threatening. But then when they encounter the guy that's tracking her down, he doesn't point the rifle at the guy. Why would you write that?
But to me, Sean, all of that was plausible. See, where I agree with you is, hold on. Where I agree with you is, I agree with you about who would write this with that kind of hate and venom toward women. I'm totally there. I'm there. But the fact that a white man sees another white man and will trust another white man just because he's another white man,
over a woman that's imperiled,
absolutely true, and there's no doubt about it. Then there's other issues about.
Then we have issues as humanity. Yeah, that's terrible.
Right, but that's true though. He would be like, oh, this guy is another white dude. I'm gonna take him as authority.
Well, then that seems even more sickening than I interpreted the first time. This is bad
that
stuff.
That happens in life right now. We know that happens. So a lot of the stuff to me was plausible. Unfortunately, I know you said it's kind of crazy, but having 6 sisters, I have at least 2 sisters who are totally independent. They're not married, not coupled up, and they do all their stuff all by themselves. And I'm talking about traveling, packing, doing all that kind of stuff. For me, that stuff is plausible, but I buy the fact that is kind of.
It's just how she was traveling. It's not the fact that, you know, I agree with you. Women travel alone, but when you do travel alone as a woman,
you don't do what you did.
You have to make certain, you know, definitely have to be on your P's and Q's, because you are by yourself and you don't know, you can't count on the fact that some guy is going to do the right thing and rescue you. So you definitely take certain precaution. You let people know, hey, boom, 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 I'm moving. In case you don't hear from me, this is where I'm at. At least you can find my body. But I just feel like if just the premise was bad.
It was bad.
The script was bad.
All right, I guess I'm alone.
This is bad.
It was just bad.
I guess I'm alone. Bye, y'all. Just forget.
If you want to put your name on this, go right ahead.
Can I get that phone call from you?
Who was in it?
I didn't love it. I didn't love it, but I didn't have the same time.
It's like you said it, and also we have to start thinking about it. Why do people give money to stuff like that?
Yeah.
You know, that's the other question. Like, who did you think was going to be the audience for this? Because it's certainly not women.
And it ain't me. It's not
Oh, yeah, and it ain't me either. It's not me either. With that, we're gonna leave that alone.
Please.
We're moving on to our next movie, which is Antebellum. And
it's not a good day for women, man. This is not a Jesus Christ.
I have had so many, and I'm doing something with it where I'm moderating a public discussion with my beautiful Black Denton Film Festival family. And I've heard, and I've really been preparing, and I've watched a lot of interviews with the creatives behind. Okay, Janelle Monáe is uberly talented, and I like the fact that she's stepping out more and that she is choosing different things, and she definitely can be a lead in a film. This is not the vehicle to show her talent. I understand the intent of this movie. It's the execution that I have a problem with. I don't have a problem if we make a movie about slavery. I don't have a problem if you want to make statements about racism. All of those things are valid things. It just was poorly executed in this film. And speaking of what Sean said earlier, I have a serious problem when we have depiction of pain and violating women to get a shock value. Like, this was like trauma. And I'm like, what is the point of it other than to just make us feel gross?
Lonita, jump in.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that everybody on the panel is saying that Antebellum is awful. As a movie, to have to sit through it as a viewer. I was confused. I felt discombobulated. I felt betrayed by the narrative choices. I don't think that there was any development of genre, of character, of premise, or theme, what we think of as theme. I felt like that it worked more in cultural symbols than being developed characters and their relationships being developed. And I think was the failure of the film. And I agree, Janelle Monáe, she was acting her heart out. I agree that she looked good. She looked like a butter biscuit on Sunday morning, okay? But she could not carry this movie across the finish line to success. It was disappointing. And I when you hear that there was like literally no development, two dudes who have never written a script, who sat down and wrote it in a couple of weeks, and then there was no professional rewrite done to it, it shows. It shows. And so what it says to me is that they use this as a cash grab, which Black stories deserve better than that, if we consider this a Black story.
No, I totally agree with you. I think in my review, I said that it felt like that they were trying to do a little bit of 12 Years a Slave, a little bit of Harriet, and a little bit of Get Out. They got the 12 Years a Slave, they got a little bit of the Harriet, but they didn't have the Get Out genius. They didn't figure out how to make that all work. With all these twists and turns, everything got lost. I also agree that it had no meat for Janelle. That it wasn't meaty enough for her to be able to do the types of stuff that she could have done to really elevate this film. And it all does start with the writing. Sean.
I don't think I hated it as much as everybody else did. Yeah, the movie is complete. No, the movie's flawed. I mean, I do like the attempt they were trying to do. I mean, I don't know too many people on the planet that could pull this off. This is a really tricky conceit. And I kind of can get in their head and see what they were trying to do. I think the biggest thing that hampered them from pulling this off is they were first-time filmmakers. It's hard to make a conventional film as a first-time filmmaker, and to try to do something that's tricky is really difficult. I like the fact that they were trying, and I don't blame Black women at all for hating this film, because this is a very divisive film. I like the fact that they were trying to at least have a discussion about the sexual exploitation of Black Americans during slavery in this country, because that issue has never been thoroughly discussed, examined, or even taught in schools, because everybody just thinks slavery was about picking cotton, but slavery was just as much as about, you know, human trafficking and rape and torture and that sort of thing, which has never really been like depicted in cinema. I just wish they would have leaned a little harder on the sci-fi stuff and less on the whole slavery stuff. I mean, we got it, so I don't think we really needed to see extended scenes of that. And like I said,
Yeah, it
I
was
get
ridiculous. It opened
It's too long.
with
It's too long.
a
It was too long.
hanging, and it opened with the shooting. It opened with
Right.
a beating.
Right. But
Yeah,
I do like the way the film speaks to this conversation we're having currently in this country about like the preservation of like Confederate monuments and how there's a certain group of people that want to hold on to the past. I think there was a lot they could have explored there without lingering so long on the depiction of slavery and the depiction of getting raped and the mistreatment of the Black women in the film. So I like the door that they open. I just wish they would have just fought.
I don't think that they're trying to have a conversation. If they were, they would have used Gabby Sidibe's character in a more beneficial way toward a narrative. But they made her big, dark-skinned, loud, you know, instead of using her to really have that conversation.
But I was going to say the blueprint for this type of film exists in the 1979 novel Kendrick by Octavia Butler. So if they would have just, if you read that book, if they just would have stuck to that, I mean, it would have turned out perhaps a little bit better. As it is, it plays like Mandingo meets Get Out.
Mm. Yeah, I think they were overly ambitious. You know what I mean? And I definitely think I agree with Lanita. They needed somebody to rein in the reins. You know what I mean? And also, like, again, intent and execution are two different things. But definitely when you listen to their interviews and you listen to them describe it, you understand what they were trying to do. It's just what's up on that screen is not what you're telling me this film is about, which is a problem. When you tell me something, I'm taking you at your word, and now I'm like, okay, when I first saw the previews for this, I was like, oh, this looks like this might be, you know, a bop. And then when you watch it, you go, what had happened? You know what I mean? And it's just very, you know what I mean? And again, you can talk to your blue in the face about what your intent was. At the end of the day, it's not what's up here on the screen. And also, I feel like sometimes, no, let me clarify, all the time, when you're telling a story about something that is not your gender or your point of entry, it's really important to bring that demographic in. And if they would have gave that script to a Black woman to read before they went into production, she would have been like, nah, this ain't gonna work. And based on work.
And I want to say, based on the execution and what they're saying, I don't believe them when they tell me that their intent was to do this or that. I believe their intent was to make money, to capitalize on this moment. That's what I think is happening here. Otherwise, they would have caressed this script. They would have taken the time with it. Like you said, they would have put other eyes on it. They would have made sure it had that professional rewrite instead of we're two first-time filmmakers, first-time scriptwriters, and we thought no. You do your due diligence.
I love what you just said though, Lanita, is that to caress that script. And I think it just goes hand in hand with what Katia was saying, to just have a Black woman look at it. I will tell you is that I am probably closer to Sean on this one. I didn't hate this movie. I'm talking about hate it, because I felt that there were some elements that worked for me. I just did, it's not memorable, and it's not a movie that I would say is a must-see or that people need to run out and check out. But as I was watching the movie, I didn't say to myself, oh, this is garbage. This didn't get the garbage smell for me. And just
it's not garbage. It just has a lot of problems.
It just had a lot of problems. A lot of things in it didn't work. And I think that they probably, maybe they didn't think at all based on what you guys are saying, but maybe they just overthought it, because they tried to do a little bit too much. And I think where you're correct, Lanita, is that they didn't want to have a conversation. They just want to bring up all the issues. So they brought up 15 issues without a conversation in it. I did think that Gabby Sidibe killed her role, though. If you didn't like the role, I think that she killed the role that she played. I thought she did a good job as that person.
It was unworthy of her talent.
Thank you. I mean, again, I applaud the fact that they put her in the movie, because a lot of people, you know, she's a really talented actress, but they're so stuck on her appearance that they feel as though they can't write a role for her, which is crazy. You know, like you know, she can't do anything. But again, I think, you know, there's so many questions that I have, you know, and again, there are a couple, not to say that makes things worse or better, but I feel like the only conversations that they were having when they were making this were with each other, and both of them are novices. So you don't get any type of critical thinking in there. You don't get any type of correction. You don't get anything, because the conversation is just flowing from A to B. Now, if their intent was to just do a money grab, then even that I can't say, because
I think that's a little.
I'm trying to think, it's like, who's gonna pay? And I think people are gonna pay for it, and then they're gonna be like, I'm mad that I paid for this. That's gonna be the reaction.
I disagree on the fact that it was a money grab. I mean, technically every film.
Ain't no heart.
Well, technically every movie's a money grab, because no film is made without the intent of it like recouping the dollars that were invested to create the production. I just think that this was just a tricky conceit for two first-time filmmakers. And no, this film got rammed. I mean, I know a little bit about the production process. They didn't go unchecked, untethered. I mean, they're not big like that. So a lot of eyeballs were on this. So
somebody should have told the truth. I'm just been like, ooh, this ain't it. Somebody should have had a first.
Right. The production process being what it is, that's one thing. But when you listen to the two of them talk about it, they say that they went to Lionsgate, and Lionsgate saw the first draft of this script and said it's ready to auction. It's ready to bid.
I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to do that, Sean.
I mean, but again, we can't. But here's Sean. We all know what the process is, but the general public that doesn't.
No, that's why I want to keep it to the film.
That's a problem, though. If you're selling me a bag of goods, but you're not delivering it, now I'm questioning your credibility. Anything going forward.
Yeah, but I can see why a studio want to make this. I mean, the tagline on this is like, the tagline works, but then you execute the movie. The tagline the concept totally is there. The premise is there. It's just tough to pull off.
So we're gonna move on to our next things. But I will say, I think it's interesting enough for people who might want to check it out, but it's not good enough for me to go pay and see it. No
one's going to be talking about this film years from now.
No,
I mean, not at all.
They may be because like you said, today is a bad day for women. So they may be talking about this character.
And we hadn't even talked about the.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I do think the reason why the two of you gentlemen are not as offended as I am, and I think is because the men in this movie are portrayed as supportive, as people who love, people who have human experiences and connections with their mates. And so I thought that was something that was important to portray that doesn't always happen, particularly for Black men. And so I think that might be a reason why you're like, this isn't total garbage. Because in that way, I love the husband, the first guy.
But go ahead, finish.
Well, then I was trying to give you one, Sean. I don't know.
That's not why. I got to be honest. That's not why I liked it. I like the framework. I like the narrative. I like the setup and the premise. You know, I liked it. I liked what they were trying to do. But what you were saying, no, that's not why I liked it.
Oh.
All
right.
Anything
So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to our segment, which is called the countdown. I have 5, maybe 6 things, depending on how much time we have, to throw up on the board for us to talk about. I will not be showing you the timer because, again, you know, I had technical difficulties, but I will be looking at it.
We trust your timekeeping skills.
There we go.
Just do a buzzer sound when it's time to end.
There we go. So the first one we're going to look at is the Emmy winners. And I want to talk about Free Ray Sean. Do you guys think that with Free Ray Sean winning 2 Emmys, is that going to help Quibi or not?
Not. It's not going to help Quibi, but it's going to help the people that won the Emmys. Because Free Ray Sean, I've been telling people Free Ray Sean's dope. I mean, it came out early on the platform. It was a great series. So yeah, it'll help the participants in Free Ray Sean, but nothing can save Quibi. It's a bust.
If they're smart, they'll move it to another platform. And YouTube is coming up with something that is going to be along those lines. So if they're smart, they'll talk to YouTube and say, hey, we have an Emmy award-winning thing that has a little bit of an audience combined. We can have it together. But the problem is it's on a platform that nobody cares about.
Right. And they're not going to.
But somebody, I mean, you don't think that by when people like, oh, I've never even thought about going to Quibi. Oh, Free Ray Sean, let me go check that out.
No. Free Ray Sean is dope. It's not that dope.
It's just too much too, though. We are saturated with all these streaming things.
Yeah, it's too much.
Like they were supposed to be an alternative for cable, but the reality is somebody's going to come up with a package that offers you all the streaming devices, and this is going to be the new cable where we're going to pay, I don't know, $50 a month to have everything streamlined together. I mean, Hulu kind of does that a little bit with Disney Plus and ESPN, but people are like, I don't want this type of time.
But the problem,
we keep it
right.
open.
The problem with Quibi is it would have been able to compete better as a streaming service, but to compete as a phone app is way more competition in the phone app space than in the streaming space. If they would have been a conventional platform where you could just stream their content, they might have had a fighting chance, but they went into this as an app. They're an app format. You can only watch this stuff on your mobile device. It's way more competitive in the app space.
Lanita, what do you think, Lanita? Do you think?
Well, I mean, it makes me sad because as a idea, Quibi, I was like, oh, that sounds great. But I haven't ever tuned into anything personally. I agree with what Sean said the last time that we talked about it, was that they kind of mistargeted the platform in terms of who they need their audience to be.
Yep.
And so I agree that one monkey is not going to stop or start this show.
All right, well, moving on to the next one. Still staying with the Emmys. We got Maya Rudolph winning an Emmy for Big Mouth, How to Have an Orgasm. Was she acting or not?
Of course she was acting. Maya Rudolph's brilliant.
But it's a shame that it took so long for her to win an Emmy for this. All the years of work that she has put in, she should have won multiple Emmys when she was on SNL. Like this is, I feel like this is more or less a makeup Emmy. That's really what it is. I think if certain people stick around long enough and you have overlooked them, then people go, well, you know what, we gotta correct that in a way. But she should be a multiple Emmy winner. She's one of the most brilliant, funny, and also she's also a great actress. People out there, I just, great. I mean, if she's happy, I'm happy. But she should have a show.
But you saying they weren't loving you? I mean, they weren't loving her?
No,
well,
it's always, and we're about to see it on Sunday. There's a certain person that they love that they keep giving trophies to that I think is the most boring, underwhelming actress.
Who?
Jennifer Aniston. And for this show, The Morning Show.
She's not winning. Jennifer Aniston's not winning on Sunday.
Watch her win this thing.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer Aniston.
So show is I don't know. I'm like, are we watching the same show?
Jennifer Aniston's not winning.
I think she might. I think she might, Sean. I think she might.
They love her. They give her Golden Globe.
They do love Jennifer Aniston.
But
and I don't get it.
Who's winning, Sean?
Not Jennifer Aniston. I don't know. I did my Gold Derby picks. I don't have them memorized, but Jennifer
okay. All right. Well, with that, the last one on the Emmys is we got Giovanna Depo, one for Watchmen. Happy? Any thoughts on that?
That's what's winning everything Sunday, and well deserved. Watchmen's a great series.
Yeah, that is not surprising.
No, it's not surprising at all.
Not surprising at all.
No, I had that.
Not a debate.
That. Yeah, that's not surprising. Watchmen's going to run the table.
Well, that's it on that. All right,
Yeah.
you heard it here. Watchman's gonna run the table. So here's the next issue. We got a Jason Momoa, Mosa
Momoa? Oh,
Momoa,
Lisa
Momoa.
Bonet's man.
and Ray Foster. I was thinking
Aquaman.
Momoa.
Yeah,
Aquaman.
I
Aquaman.
think Momoa.
Momoa.
Yeah, but and Ray Foster are claiming that they've been treated really, really poorly by the Justice League, by Josh Whedon and Jeff Johns and some other people.
That's not surprising either.
Talk about it. Why?
It's not surprising. Everybody's coming out with their stories. It's been going on for 100 years. It's not surprising. That's all I'll say. It's not surprising. I believe
I do
him.
think they're trying to play my man. I think they are. And I think what helps him, though, is Jason Momoa saying, I stand with him.
Yeah.
Because, they're not going to cancel Jason Momoa because Aquaman was a huge hit. But here's the problem. And because I was really like, they did 2 DC fandoms, and I'm like, where is the Cyborg movie? And here's the other issue. They're doing a Flash movie, and the gentleman that plays the Flash, he is problematic in real life. So
Very.
if we're really about but making things better, why are you rewarding someone for bad behavior, but you're punishing the other guy who's saying my work experience wasn't good? Like, I'm really like, it's really, we have to really start holding these companies accountable. It's show and prove.
Sounds like
if you really care about Black experiences, if you really want to make the work environment better, then instead of trying to make the Black guy seem like, look, we are trying to solve it, but you really aren't. And that's what his argument is. You're not trying to solve it. You're trying to gaslight me. Then you would try to solve the problem. But right now it's like a PR campaign where they're trying to make him out to be crazy. And the bros out there are like, well, he hasn't done any work. He's this and he's that. And they're going to try to ruin this young man's career.
So
Which
here's
is not
my
okay.
question. So here's my question on this is that if Sean, everybody's coming out with their story because we get the being treated bad on Ellen, being treated bad over here, being treated bad
everywhere.
I mean, that means that everybody, there's 8 million stories in the naked city, right? I mean, so what?
No,
That's the problem. That's the problem.
The most honest movie about Hollywood was The Assistant, right? Where it shows you, like, there's been numerous stories all over the years where they said how assistants are overworked, underpaid, don't have benefits, the list goes on and on. You can't, you can't scream at Washington and say, hey, you guys need to do better, but you are also part of the problem when you're doing the same thing in the industry where you're not paying people right, which is what the issue, like, I really had to scratch my head and say, what do you mean you don't get PTO working for Ellen? Like, that's a basic labor right for you to have vacation. Like, you literally can't take time off to go to the doctor. You can't take time off to do parent-teacher conference. And I'm not buying this, and I don't really care. I mean, if I never get anything to do with Ellen, but the truth is I'm not buying the fact that she didn't know. The show bears your name. You bear responsibility to know what is going on in your camp. And the fact that how long has her show been going on? And all these people were working without basic labor one-on-one rights.
But it seems like to me, and I want to get to you, Lanita, even though we're over time, but it seems like to me, if this is how Hollywood operates, it's just how Hollywood operates. It's not like, I didn't know. I mean, this is what we do. This is how is that if you want to work here, you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff. You're going to have to sacrifice some kids. You're going to have to sacrifice some pay. You're going to have to sacrifice being told what to do. This is just how it is in Hollywood.
Not just Hollywood.
Up and come to work.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Not just
Hollywood.
It's
everywhere.
Not just Hollywood.
That's the capitalism game.
That's
you
the
know what I'm saying? If you want to,
this issue's bigger than this show. It's bigger than this industry. It's widespread. But these are the ills of when you want to have a capitalistic society. This is the price you pay.
All right.
The price you pay, absolutely. I mean, and of course, what is so shocking about Ellen in particular, or DC even, is that we have an image. These are superheroes. They protect. They
Yes.
are, and then Ellen, be kind, we buy into what we see. And then when we
nobody's
start pulling
boycotting.
that curtain back, you realize that they are having the same human experience where they have to push a doctor's appointment to next month because they can't get off this month. They're having the same human experience where the boss is coming at you
Why do you think
in
Me
ways
Too came to
that
life?
he shouldn't or she shouldn't.
It's just, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's why Me Too came to life.
Y'all coming with the real. Next subject. They are restoring native son. Do you guys care? They're restoring like the 1951 native son where Richard Wright actually played bigger. Do you care?
I care, but it's for the general public. It's crickets.
Why do you care? Because I actually care. I didn't.
I care because I'm intelligent and that's my thing. That's what I'm into. But for most people, that's crickets.
I didn't see this one, and I like Richard Wright, so I didn't even know that in 1951 he played. You saw this one, Sean?
Yeah, in film school when I was in Morehouse, way long time ago. Yeah, Professor Eichel.
I did not, but I do think in light of the last version that we got, we need it. Because I literally was sitting there, I do think I saw the one after that, but I do think the last version that we got, the one that HBO put out, we need to see this version, because I literally was sitting there at Sundance going like, what is this film? Because it's not the story.
The HBO version was more of a reimagining, but
it was a horrible reimagining.
It had problems, but this is one of those stories that, a few people who are in the industry care about, but other than that, it's not much to it.
Oh man,
it's just not.
You hit me in the heart, man, because I cared. Lanita, your thoughts?
Well, I also care, and I've only seen scenes from the original, and so I would love to see the full version and the restoration. I'm not sure why general audiences wouldn't care, but I fear that might be true. Yeah, it might be true because it's an older movie, because we think that we're approaching these stories better now than they had in the past. I think generally we believe that. So,
well, I mean, most students nowadays don't even read that novel, and then if the current president of the United States has its way, the novel's going to get burned in a few years. So there you go.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, hey, you guys actually ended that one on time. I got one more that I want to try to get in. Actually, Sean, you started on it earlier. It is about the box office. Does it really matter? Lanita, last week, I said that Tenet saved the world. And Sean went all in talking about, it didn't. Look, right now, worldwide, Tenet has made $200 million in a pandemic. You can't tell me that that's not good.
No, it's horrible. There have been like 100 articles written on it. The multiplier is the amount of production cost plus P&A. Just go to Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Forbes, Wall Street Journal have all reported that Warner Brothers stands to lose anywhere from $200 to $300 million on this film because they released it during the pandemic. Also, it's having a reverse effect on theater owners where they're losing money to keep their theaters open. They would have been better off if they never opened and remained closed because they're staffing all these multiplexes for a movie that people aren't coming to see. It's been a total disaster on both sides. And even without Warner Brothers admitting that Tenet failed, it failed because immediately they pushed Wonder Woman back, which they're also releasing. So that says, because if Tenet would have made all the money that they claimed it made, they would have kept Wonder Woman where it is. Like,
Lanita, he getting on my nerve. Oh, yeah, what's your thought?
It's a fail.
Well, I mean, I agree. I can't argue with the numbers, but the quality of the movie, it's Christopher Nolan, and I agree, Sean, that he's not universal. I am not necessarily a Christopher Nolan fan. So I went in with, but I love sci-fi and I liked Inception, The Dark Knight was okay. I mean, but I don't love Christopher Nolan, right? So I went into this movie hoping that it would do for the box office what I think we all were hoping it would do for the
But
box
these
office.
executives are insane.
For movie going. But the movie just is not good to me. It just was not good. And making the 20 million stateside, making the 20 million here, I think was it's terrible. And I think it was indicative of the fact that the movie is just not worth movie going. But in talking with movie theater chain owners, I know that it is cyclical for them. They need the good movies to be open, and they need to be open to get the good movies. And and so when we're pushing back those big movies, those big titles, they are suffering. And so they're having to create reasons, not ways, but reasons to be open.
Reasons to be open.
So, yes. So in that way, I think that
it's like three different things. I mean, first of all, to think that you can recoup without the two biggest markets.
No New York, no LA.
It is really, that's
Dumb.
a tough thing to do.
Dumb.
And although their theaters are starting to open around LA County, you need LA County. You definitely need New York City. Now I understand, like, I like Christopher Nolan films. I loved his trilogy of the Batman saga. I thought him and Christian Bale made a really good team. I love Dunkirk. I do like the fact that he shoots for the stars. And I have my issues with Tenet, just like a lot of you. I mean, I didn't think it was garbage, but I definitely think it had challenges.
But just wasn't.
But the thing also is though, you gotta, like, just from a business point of view, the United States, forget the rest of the world, because we gotta talk about home. It's very hard to be successful without California, mainly LA County, and New York.
What were they thinking? It's the wrong type of movie to test to see if people want to go back to. Tenet had limited demo appeal. But you gotta remember, the box office is like a pizza. They should have put out a movie that could get all the slices.
Mulan, I think, would have done much better. I think we talked about this.
No way.
Mulan would have done better.
And that's what I meant. I agree that it's not universal, and in that we know what kinds of movies reach general audiences, and I agree they should have tested it.
You need a PG-13 film that isn't so
you need
where you have to be a fan or into it.
Dude, it was the wrong movie to try to claim that you're gonna save cinema because you just weren't gonna get enough demos to care about the movie in the first place.
All right, well, that's it.
That inexcusable.
That got to be a wrap for us today. I wanted to talk about the movie Blackbird, but we went a little bit over. I want to thank. I don't want to thank Sean. I want to thank Kantia for. Thanks so much.
Froze.
Whatever, Sean. Just go do whatever you got to do. Sign out. Have your last word. I'll go with Sean first.
No. My last word is that please, people, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Be careful. Be safe. There's nothing wrong with enjoying these quality programs that are streaming. There's a lot of good stuff out there that you can watch from the safety of your home.
I'm gonna ask Anita, make your closing statement.
I agree that now is a good time to really be turning your ear to Black voices, but when we do, I would like for it to be done with the fullness of your heart, and for it to be soulful, and not flat and superficial because it feels like a theft. That's it.
Wow, Katya.
My final words is the best movies this year, in my opinion, have been made by women. And two of them we saw at TIFF, which is Regina King's One Night in Miami and Chloe Chow's Nomadland. And give women the money and let them be great. Because they're telling stories that are being overlooked, that are intimate, and they're giving us conversation pieces that are staying with us long after we watch these films. So if we're really about this life, cut the BS and give these women the money to make the art.
All right. She just said it. Show me the money. So my final statement, I told you what I was going to say in the beginning, and I told you that I was going to tell you to vote. Every issue, every show, both Katya and Sean will say at the end, they'll yell, vote, vote. And it's at the end of every show. So I'm going to do it before they do it. Please vote. If you're not registered to vote, register to vote. Voting is really, really important. So that's my message for today. I want to thank you guys for coming and joining us on the Reel Critic Roundtable. This is where Black critics come to discuss, debate, and have fun. And we'll see you next time.
Yay!
All right. Good show. All right. Thank you.